Okay, so this video is going to be how to solve the problem-solving task that has to do with the baby bird jumping out of the nest. So here's the problem. I'm going to go to the next page. Here's the question that you see for number 1. How long will it take for the baby bird to hit the ground? Explain how you got your answer. The first thing that you should do is ask yourself, what is this question really asking you to find? If we were to sketch a graph of what is going on here, if we were to sketch a graph of what is going on here, we know that a quadratic function is going to look something like that. And this x-axis would be the time, and the y-axis would be the height. So when the baby bird hits the ground, it's going to be right here, which is the height is 0, so that we're really looking for the x-intercepts. So the first thing that I would do is look at this equation up here to see if I could factor it. Well, I know that I cannot factor this because there are no common factors of 48 that will give me the middle term, which is 8. So what I'd have to do to find the x-intercepts is use the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So after I have that equation, the first thing I'm going to do is identify my a, b, and c terms. My a, by looking at that equation, is going to be negative 4. My b is going to be 8. And my c is going to be 48. Now I'm going to take these three terms for a, b, and c and substitute them into my equation to get the x-intercepts. So I'm going to have negative 1, or the opposite of b, times 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times negative 4, because that's our a, times 48, because that's our c, all divided by 2 times negative 4. Then I'm just going to simplify this so that way it doesn't look as scary. So I'm going to have negative 8 plus or minus 8 squared is 64, and then negative 4 times negative 4 is going to be positive 16 times 48 is going to give us a positive 768. And that's just for the numerator. Now our denominator is 2 times negative 4. That's negative 8. Okay? Then I'm going to simplify this one more time. So I know a negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive, so I'm just going to leave that negative alone. Now I have just 8 plus or minus the square root of 832 divided by 8. So now that that's simplified, the last thing I got to do is make two equations. Okay, so again, I just gotta write the two equations to find the two x-intercepts for the baby bird. I'm gonna move this up to give myself more space. Okay, so where we left off is right here, where we have this 8 plus or minus the square root of 832 divided by 8. So that means I gotta write one equation where it's 8 plus the square root of 832 divided by 8, and then 8 minus the square root of 832 divided by 8. Now, when I put this into my calculator and simplify both of these, for 8 plus the square root of 832, I get about 4.605, and for 8 minus the square root of 832 divided by 8, I get about negative 2.605. Whoops. So now I have to ask myself, which one of these x-intercepts is going to be the one that makes sense? So which one is going to be this x-intercept that's circled in orange? Well, the negative one is going to be the one that's on the negative side. So that means this one has to be my answer. So if we go back and look at the question, how long will it take for the baby bird to hit the ground? Well, the answer is going to be, it will take about 4.6 seconds for the baby bird to hit the ground. Alright, now we're going to look at the second question, which is, what is the maximum height the baby bird will reach? Explain how you got your answer. So right when I see maximum height, I know that we are going to be looking for the vertex of this equation. Since this equation is not factorable, we will have to use the formula x equals negative 1 times b over 2 times a to help us find the vertex. So like before, when we identified a, b, and c, we're going to have to do that again, where a is negative 4, b is 8, and c is 48. Now I'm going to take this a and b term and substitute it into this formula. So we get x equals negative 1 times our b, which is 8, divided by 2 times our a, which is negative 4. When we simplify, we get negative 8 divided by negative 8, which is positive 1. Now, we're not done yet. We have to take this 1, substitute it back into our original equation for t, because t is taking the place of x. So now we're going to have h equals negative 4 times 1 squared plus 8 times 1 plus 48. Now, 1 squared is 1, so we have 4 times 1 plus 8 times 1 plus 48. Now we're just simplifying. So negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 plus 8 plus 48. Negative 4 plus 8 is positive 4, and positive 4 plus 48 is 52. So now we know our vertex is 152. Again, if we go back and look at a sketch of what our graph will look like, we know that time goes on the x-axis and height goes on the y-axis. So that means what's in the place of the x-coordinate is going to be our time, and what's in the place of our y-coordinate is going to be our height. So to answer the question, what is the maximum height that the baby bird will reach, our answer would be 52 feet, I believe it is. The baby bird will reach a height of 52 feet. I know this because that's the y-coordinate of the vertex.